sprinklers don't work. If I put a 9-volt battery in right here, it'll work for a day or two and then it'll quit working. Also, some parts of the control panel are out. I suspect the problem may be that it's not getting power, but since the control panel is on the fritz, I'm going to replace the whole thing. This box will be held in place by 2 screws. One goes through there. The other one fits right there on the back. I've got this one here already, so you can see it. I'll put the other one in place until it's ready to be mounted. I got the conduit in place. That's in there. This was mounted in here, held in place by this and some wire nuts. I took the wire nuts off, took that out, and removed that because we're going to wire it directly. So we need this one here. And put that on top of it. I've already done that with this one. It's a pretty big hole, so I believe that's a 3/4 inch. This is 3/4 inch conduit connector. This is an adapter to go from 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch, so it just slides in there. We're going to dry fit everything and then glue it together later. So I can't do this one-handed, so I'm going to put this on here. I've cut the conduit with my chop saw and have it dry fit, which means nothing's glued. So I got to glue it in and secure it. Okay, got the conduit put in place last night, glued in. Black is hot. Put a strain relief in there. It doesn't quite fit completely right, but it's the best I can do. I am slowly splicing these things. These are heat shrink tubes. Got them from here. Apparently I miscounted the number of wires, so I had to run an extra one. Got the shrink tubing ready. This one I messed up on and didn't put a big enough shrink tubing, so it won't go all the way, so I'm going to try. I don't know if this will work. Try and see if this is going to work or not. Okay, so got the common, which I knew because I took a picture of the last one, the old control box, and then I just turned each zone on and touched a wire to it to see where it was. Put them in the order I wanted them in. Got 7 zones. So gotta set the timer. The tools I used to complete this job were my measuring tape, a notebook, which I don't have here, my iPhone. I use Evernote to keep track of projects, along with my paper note taker, my Fluke non-contact voltage tester. I also have a cheaper version of the non-contact voltage tester. I much prefer the Fluke. It is more sensitive and works better. The screwdriver is an electrician's screwdriver. I use my trusty Milwaukee Fast Track multi-tool, some wire strippers, a level, my Ryobi drill, along with some bits, including Spax bit and some Phillips bits, headlamp, this little thing you can put around your wrist, and it's got magnets in it. It's really great for holding little nuts and bolts and things. Heat gun for heating up the shrink tubing, a extension cord, the caulk gun, and then I used, for supplies, I used black and white electrical tape. I mainly use those for marking a couple of red wires that I had. I didn't want to buy new wire. This is a strain relief. It probably really isn't what I needed to use, but I didn't think about it until I had the box already up and mounted, or I might have used a different type. This is the cement for putting the conduit together. Some silicone caulk for sealing around the outlet box. The outlet box I took off was just full of spider webs because they didn't seal it properly. My sealing job is pretty messy, but it was the best I could do because I can't see up where that is. I can't really get my ladder where it is easily, and so I was kind of running blind. So the film you saw on there with that messy caulk job is because I couldn't see it. I just held my phone up there to see what it looked like. This is some epoxy putty that I used, but it didn't perform exceptionally well. I don't know if I didn't mix it up properly or what, but it didn't work terribly well. So I don't know if I'd use that again. If I ever have cost you for something like that again, I'll mix it up really well and see if maybe that was the problem. I don't know. Spax screws. I do not use Phillips screws if I can avoid it because they strip out. And I use these wire nuts. I would have used the Wagos, but they came in a day or two after I finished the job. I've never used those before, but they get great reviews and they look like a really good product. So in my future wiring jobs, I plan on using those. Some rubber gloves for when I was doing the caulk. Some assorted shrink wrap, or excuse me, some assorted heat shrink, and some paper towels, plus the trash can. For what I put on there, I used 90-degree half-inch conduit boxes, I don't know what they're called, and about 7 feet of half-inch conduit, plus a few end pieces to go into the boxes, both the sprinkler control box and the box that I put the light on. And I don't know exactly the other mix of stuff. I probably could have gotten away with using some cheaper 90-degree slope, 90-degree turn conduit rather than the L boxes, but I just wanted it to be easy to get to the wires if I needed to. And it did turn out to be fortunate I did that. So post-job evaluation, if I had it to do again, I would do several things differently. One is I would use a different light. I did not realize when I bought that light that there wasn't enough room to use all three of those lights, those panels. And if I had to do it again, I would use a different light, but by time I was that far into it, I just didn't want to back up and redo it. I don't really have anywhere else to use that light anyway, so it does work. It's not pretty, but this side of the house doesn't get a lot of visitors, and nobody's likely to notice it anyway. It does work well. I would not necessarily have had to use these. They make a 90-degree slope conduit. I originally bought those. I ended up using these because it's easier to get to the wires, and I've never pulled wires through a conduit before. Originally the box was over here out in the sun where the awning doesn't cover. I moved it over to get it more convenient to work on, to adjust, and also to get it underneath the awning and out of the direct rain. This was existing, this lower part, so moving it over caused me to have to use some to buy some sprinkler wire, which was difficult for me to find. It was out of it, moving it over caused me to have to use some sprinkler wire. It was difficult to find the sprinkler wire because the local stores were out of stock, and when I did find it, I ended up buying the wrong one. I had miscounted the wires, so I would definitely make sure I got the right count on the wires before. I probably would have used a cheaper control box. I ended up going with the Rainberg because on the original box, the spacing on an Orbit one that I originally bought was different, the spacing between these two pieces of conduit, and that I bought this before I decided to move it from over here to over there, and before I decided to do completely new conduit. So if I had it to do again, I probably would use a cheaper version of this, but I already had it and I didn't want to take it back, and this is good quality. So overall, I'm happy with the job. It took far longer, as most of them do, than I thought it would, and I could complete the job far faster if I had it to do again, but I had never done this before.